HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm Kevin Rowe from Lerner Rowe, and we've been serving Arizonans for 20 years. Make the best choice after an accident. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
Lerner Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900. 977-1900.
Feeling uneasy about your financial future? You need a partner that helps lighten the load. Welcome to Global Credit Union. It means early payday, your paycheck up to 3 days early with direct deposit, accounts with no NSF fees, and a mobile app with tools to help you manage your family budget. At Global, we take member care seriously with branches near you and a 24/7 U.S.-based call center staffed by real people. Join us at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union.
Hey D-backs fans, did you know milk is one of the most requested but least donated items at food banks? Together we can change that. On June 14th, D-backs pitcher Merrill Kelly will be at the Fry's on 20th Street in Highland from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. for the 1,000-gallon challenge milk donation drive. Stop by, donate a gallon, meet Merrill Kelly, and make a difference. Join Arizona milk producers, Fry's, and the D-backs to help fill fridges and fuel families. Learn more at arizonamilk.org.
At Shane Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know. That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Fulton Homes is bringing legendary Fulton quality back to the West Valley. Explore 4 exceptional West Valley locations with more standard features and thousands of ways to personalize your home. Find out why people buy Fulton Homes over and over again. Fulton Homes, you're proud to own, we're proud to build.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
Here they are, the Phoenix Spartans. Welcome in the Wednesday edition of the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you. Hope everyone's having a great start to their Wednesday. You can always stream the show on the KDUS AM 1060 app, or if you want to watch the program, you can do so over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. We're also up on Twitter as well. Producer Evan is behind the glass taking your phone calls, 480-864-1060. And, you know, not a whole lot to talk about today on the show. I'm not really sure what we're going to do for the next 2 hours. Sometimes, you know, the show is very easy. It gets put together very quick. You just know where you're gonna go. Big game last night. Bunch of storylines, some rumors. Today, Wednesday, middle of the week, I'm not sure exactly where we should start today's program, but I guess I'll hit the button and we'll figure it out together. Sound good with you, Producer Evan? We'll just figure it out?
Sounds good.
All right.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
The wait is over. The Phoenix Suns have their next basketball coach. At least according to reporting from Shams Charania of ESPN, the Suns have their man. His name, Jordan Ott. Assistant coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers last season, is now going to be the next head coach of your Phoenix Suns. Now, I know what you want to talk about today about this news. I know where you want me to start with this news, but bear with me. We will get to that, and we will get to the cloud that hovers over Jordan Ott's hiring, but it feels right to start with the news itself and what the Suns are getting in Jordan Ott. They are getting a coach who started his career with Mike Budenholzer in Atlanta, then went to Brooklyn and worked with Kenny Atkinson and Jacques Vaughn and Steve Nash, and then went to the Lakers and was an assistant there with Darvin Ham, and then ended up with the Cleveland Cavaliers last season under Kenny Atkinson once again, and was had a front row seat to a 64-win season there in Cleveland, the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and a lot of people thought the number 2 favorite to win the NBA title this year. A disappointing run for that team in the postseason, but a great regular season, a great turnaround for them, and Jordan Ott had a front row seat, had a say in that. He had been the summer league coach for Cleveland. He is a player development guy, and he checks all of the boxes. He checks all of the boxes that we wanted the next Phoenix Suns head coach to have. We wanted it to be a young head coach. Check. We wanted it to be somebody that, let's face it, was new to the position, was green to being an NBA head coach. We were okay with them steering away from the direction of old and looking for championship pedigree. That direction didn't suit this franchise. And now, as they entered a new chapter, we wanted them to embrace somebody who hadn't been there before, hadn't done it before. We wanted somebody who had been a longtime assistant waiting for their first crack, because we wanted somebody that was hungry to take on this challenge that the Phoenix Suns are going to be over the next couple of seasons. Well, Jordan Ott checks that box as well. He checks the box of being a great communicator. He checks the box of being a player development guy. I mean, this is a guy who's a video coordinator, has worked with summer league teams as their head coach, works with young players. I mean, checks all of the boxes from a player development perspective. Every single one of those attributes that we wanted in the next Phoenix Suns head coach, Jordan Ott has. He is not unqualified for this role. He has cut his teeth in the NBA, working for coaches like Mike Budenholzer, like Steve Nash, like Kenny Atkinson, like Darvin Ham. He has worked for those coaches, Jacques Vaughn in Brooklyn as well. He's been around the block. He's been an assistant in some capacity since 2016. He has worked for NBA coaching staffs dating back all the way to 2013. This is a 12-year vet who is waiting for his first head coaching gig, and he gets it here with the Phoenix Suns. He is not unqualified. If you were just looking at a blind resume, he has the qualifications. He has the previous stops. He's worked with some pretty good organizations, and he comes from an organization last year that had a really good season. There's nothing on the resume that you would want to poke holes in. His experience, it's actually a benefit to us that he doesn't have that head coaching experience. All of it leads to somebody who was qualified to be a part of this search, who was qualified to be a finalist, and who is qualified to get this job. The problem is the cloud that hovers over all of this is you don't care that he's qualified. You don't care that he checks all of those boxes, because there's another box that he checks. And it's a box that apparently is very important to Matt Ishbia, because Jordan Ott has the same thing that Brian Gregory has, a connection to Michigan State. That's it. That is going to hover over all of this. The qualifications for Jordan Ott are going to be put to the side. I can tell you about all of these qualifications. I can tell you that I spent some time this morning. Producer Evan did a fantastic job finding a video, 7-minute video of Jordan Ott talking before the Summer League, before he was the Summer League head coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I can tell you about all the great things I heard him talking about communicating with young players and how young players come to the league and they don't feel like their voice can be heard because they're the new kid on the block. They're not the 10-year vet, the 8-year vet who's been around the block and deserves that seat at the table. He talked about giving a voice to those players. I can tell you about all those great things that I heard from Jordan Ott. But you're going to tell me that it doesn't matter because he went to Michigan State. You're going to tell me it doesn't matter because this is just another example of Matt Ishbia hiring somebody that he is comfortable with and hiring somebody that has ties to his university. You are going to tell me that the fix has been in on this whole coaching search since the beginning. You are going to throw it back into my face. Chris, you said that this was a very good head coaching search, that the Phoenix Suns were doing the right thing, that they were casting the wide net. You were wrong, Chris. You were wrong because the fix was in from the get-go. They had a predetermined outcome. They wanted to end up with Jordan Ott as their head coach because he has those Michigan State ties. And you know what the sad part about today is? The sad part about this news is there is nothing that I can do to change your opinion. If you believe that the fix was in from the get-go, I can't blame you. If you believe that none of the other highly qualified candidates that we all thought would be better fits, like a Chris Quinn, like a Dave Bliss, perhaps you were in the Sean Sweeney camp, maybe you were in the Micah Nori camp, all of those candidates, also highly qualified, also a part of this coaching search, you could say they never stood a chance. You get to say that the Suns never actually gave them a fair shake. They were always behind the 8 ball, and there is nothing I can do to dispute that opinion today because the Phoenix Suns did the thing that we said they shouldn't have done, and that is hire somebody that has a Michigan State connection right after you hired somebody that had a Michigan State connection. And in that case, in the case of Brian Gregory, you hired somebody who had zero experience. See, Jordan Ott has experience. Jordan Ott is qualified, unlike Brian Gregory. But yet here we are talking about Michigan State and Matt Ishbia's connections to Michigan State and it bleeding through into the head coaching hire. I want to get behind this hire. This is different than the Brian Gregory situation. This is somebody who is qualified to be a head basketball coach, unlike Brian Gregory and his qualifications to be the general manager. But there is a stench to this. There is an optic to this. There is a perception to this that I don't know what it will take for Jordan Ott to get up from this. Before he steps foot on the sidelines of a basketball court, before he steps foot at that podium to be introduced as the next Phoenix Suns basketball coach, this fan base, you listening to this program, have already made up your mind about Jordan Ott. You've already made up your mind that this is a hire of nepotism, that this is a hire of Matt Ishbia wanting to hire people that he is comfortable with, that he has ties to, because he's trying to relive his glory days at Michigan State. You've made up your mind, and I can't blame you if you've made up your mind today. What did I say in the wake of
the alignment?
I said we on this program were going to give Brian Gregory every opportunity to prove us wrong, that we were rooting for Brian Gregory. I have that same sentiment today about Jordan Ott, even less so in one regard. I'm more in favor of Jordan Ott being the head coach than I am Brian Gregory being the GM. But the problem is you can't take one without the other. It all gets put into the stew together. And the stew doesn't taste good. The stew tastes like you never were really interested in stepping outside of your comfort zone. You were never really interested in stepping outside of the box. And so that leads us to Jordan Ott being the next head basketball coach. But the same thing applies.
The alignment.
I'm rooting for Jordan Ott. I want Jordan Ott to succeed. His resume leads me to believe that he can succeed here. But he is going to have to succeed to a level far beyond what the expectations are for this basketball team to be able to shed the perception of him just being hired because he has ties to Michigan State.
And had they made a different hire at the general manager position, maybe this is looked at differently, but you didn't. You went with Gregory. And so now, even though Ott, like it's been reported, probably deserving of an opportunity at the head coach position, a 12-year guy in the league, but the perception here, and a lot of times perception is reality, is you just went with who you know and who you're comfortable with. And I can't blame people for thinking that.
if you brought in Bob Myers to oversee the basketball operations for the Phoenix Suns, and Bob Myers came to the conclusion that Jordan Ott was the right guy to be the next head basketball coach of the Phoenix Suns, we don't have this conversation today. We are celebrating Jordan Ott. We are talking about his accomplishments. We are talking about who he is as a coach, his previous stops, the experience that he brings, the effective communicator, the player development guy, the guy who had a front row seat to Cleveland having a turnaround this past season and getting to the 1 seed. All of that goes front and center. And for those of you out there who want to tell me, well, Chris, just focus on that, I cannot do that. I cannot be a radio host that shares my opinion every single day and just ignore that. I can't ignore that they hired a GM who had no experience and Ishbia had relationships with at Michigan State. I can't ignore the fact that Jordan Ott also has ties to Michigan State, and it all flows together. I'll tell you one thing, though.
The alignment.
There's a lot of alignment across the board here. It's just not alignment that I think I want to be a part of. I am rooting for this group to succeed. I want to see this group succeed. I do not want to have to cover a basketball season next year that even remotely is close to what we had to go through last season every single day on this program. I do not want to do that again. I want them to turn this around. I want Jordan Ott to succeed. And if you're asking me to pick right now today, which of the two do I think succeeds more, I have way more confidence in Jordan Ott than I do Brian Gregory. But the problem is they are tied at the hip. Most of the time, your GM and your head coach are tied at the hip. These two are even more tied to the hip because of that Michigan State cloud that hovers over the entire restructure that this team went through this offseason. So there you have it. The instant reaction to Jordan Ott reportedly being named the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns. We're going to have a lot more on this. Obviously want to hear from you on a big day like today, 480-864-1060. That's one way for you to join us here today on the program. The other way is you can hop over to the YouTube live stream, get in the live chat over there, and share your thoughts as well. This is not the last time that we'll touch on this story today. A lot of other angles and layers to this onion that we'll unpack over the next 2 hours. But the Suns went to the place. Johnny Bryant was a finalist, and I wonder if the Knicks firing Thibodeau did play a role in this. I'd love to find out if Ott was the preferred candidate from the get-go. It certainly sounds like he was based on some other reporting in this, but they end up going with Jordan Ott. They end up going with the guy who was with Cleveland last year and had that Michigan State connection. They leaned into that. Instead of avoiding it, like we said that they should have, they leaned into it. And we'll see if it plays out. I can't wait to hear Jordan Ott in that opening press conference because some of the stuff I heard from him in the video that we watched this morning during the morning meeting, I was impressed. But it's just hard to take the Michigan State thing and put it to the side. When we come back, the Stars showed up last night for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and it might be the thing that gives us confidence that they can turn this around. That's next on the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Hey, listeners, Vince DeLisio with the Varsity Sports Show. Tune in this Saturday and every Saturday through the summer as we feature the best in Arizona. We'll feature some interesting segments and some things we'll have fun with. We'll hear from administrators throughout the summer talking about what their summer plans are. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll have an enjoyable ride all summer long on the Varsity Sports Show, Saturday mornings, 9 to 11 on AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona.
Jaw-dropping stunts, high-flying tricks, heart-pounding excitement. Nitro Circus is back. The all-new off-the-rails tour. Gravity-defying thrill seekers and world-class daredevils at the top of their game. FMX, BMX, skate, scooter, and everything in between. Experience all new competitions that pit the best against the best in never-been-done showdowns. Nitro Circus. Friday, December 5th. Desert Diamond Arena. Join the action at Ticketmaster.com.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Call QC Kinetics 602-837-7246 in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Peoria, and Chandler. That's 837-7246, 837-7246.
Make the most out of summer with the local Arizona getaway at Hilton Phoenix Resort at the Peak. The Hilton Phoenix Resort is offering an exclusive local discount of 20% off your staycation. All suite accommodations. Bring your family and enjoy the 4-acre water park. Full-service spa and fitness center. Arizona residents get up to 20% off the best available rates. Go to HiltonPhoenixResortAtThePeak.com to book your stay. Proof of residence required.
Jim Rome here through Rome Report. Every time I talk to Washington Commanders head coach Dan Quinn, yesterday included, I'm reminded of the lunacy of Jerry Jones having this guy and letting him get away, and how smart the Commanders were for bringing him in, and how smart Quinn was for doing the hard work on himself after the Falcons fired him back in 2020. Absolutely. Quinn has a supernova under center in Jaden Daniels, and a great young GM in Adam Peters, who has given him plenty of great pieces to work with, but it all starts with Quinn. He sets the tone. He brings the juice. Players love him, and he's able to get them to do things even they didn't know they were capable of doing. But in order to do that, he had to first get right, reinvent, and prepare himself for the next head coaching job, should he get one. Well, he did, and he's crushing it. And no, you don't have to worry about the Commanders having a bullseye on their back after shocking the league last year, because as Quinn told me yesterday, they will be way too busy hunting themselves. I'm Jim Rome. Remember, you can follow me on Instagram at Jim Rome. The basketball playoffs are wrapping up, but the action is still heating up on PrizePicks, the best place to cash in on your favorite sports. The app is simple to use. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code ROME and get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. That's code ROME on PrizePicks to get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. Win or lose, you get the $50 bonus credit just for playing. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. You do have to be present in certain states. Visit PrizePicks.com for restrictions and details.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert here with you. Appreciate you joining us today. Very newsworthy day. Phoenix Suns hiring their next basketball coach, reportedly Jordan Ott getting the job. 10 minutes from now, we'll talk about somebody who gave this hire a potentially very important seal of approval and whether or not it should change the opinions that we shared at the top of the program. But there was a baseball game last night. The baseball team was in action, and the Stars showed out for the Arizona Diamondbacks last night. 6 hits combined for the top 2 guys in the Diamondbacks lineup. Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte being the all-stars that we know that they can be. Speaking of all-stars, in the morning meeting today, we put together our first mock all-star ballot for 2025. We'll put it out on social media probably tomorrow. We kind of went through the motions, and we had a couple Diamondbacks on our ballot. We tried to be fair. Didn't try to be too biased. We tried to be fair.
I thought we were very fair.
And there were some Diamondbacks that made the list. So we'll put that out on social media probably tomorrow. Very all-star-like performances from Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte last night, who combined for 6 hits, 7 of the team's 8 runs, and they both hit 2 home runs. 4 home runs combined for the top 2 hitters in this lineup. It was the first time all season that both Carroll and Marte collected multiple hits in the same game. It's also the first time in franchise history that the top two hitters in the lineup each hit 2 home runs in the same game. Last night is your stars showing up in a big way when you needed them to. We know right now that this rotation is in a massive state of flux. We don't know how long Corbin Burns is going to be out. We don't know if what we saw on Saturday from Brandon Pfaadt is something to worry about or just a small blip. We think it's just a small blip. We think it's just a one-time bad night out, erase it and move on. But we don't know. We don't know what Eduardo Rodriguez is going to look like when he returns to this rotation. We're still trying to piece together what this bullpen is going to look like, and are they going to be stable enough to help this team turn it around? The one thing we do know, the one thing that is a constant, is the star power that the Diamondbacks have at the top of their lineup. 2 MVP candidates at the top of their lineup. Corbin Carroll was an MVP candidate his rookie season. Ketel Marte was an MVP candidate through the first half of last year and deep into the summer months. We know that this team, even though reportedly they took a step backwards with some of the guys that left in the offseason, their offense is still good enough for them to win games. They need their stars to show up. They need their stars to come through and be leaders. And last night, Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll were the leaders that this team needs. Because lost in Corbin Burns' injury and us awaiting an MRI result, it's 2 in a row for the Diamondbacks after last night. They're going for a series win tonight on the road against the Atlanta Braves. They got after Spencer Strider last night, who I know doesn't look like the Spencer Strider of old, but is still a pretty good pitcher that they got after last night. Chance to go for 3 in a row tonight for a series win against an Atlanta Braves team that, let's face it, right now in the standings, you kind of share the same space with them and the team that's next up on your schedule in the Cincinnati Reds. When things get tough for baseball, you look to the guys who are old reliable. Ketel Marte, and I mean this with the utmost of respect, has been old reliable for this baseball team. He's not me. He's the guy that comes through for this ball. Corbin Carroll is the guy, and maybe not last year, but starting this year and in 2023, has been a guy that you can count on. And last night, those 2 guys came through the Arizona Diamondbacks. And if those 2 guys continue to come through, maybe not 2-2, see a world where they can battle in the month of June, they can battle in the month of July, to where they're not sellers at the trade deadline, where this isn't the doom and gloom that we've outlined earlier this week. It is performances like that that, one, make you go, oh, this team can still do this. This team still does have enough talent to win baseball. It also makes you want to rip your hair out because you know how talented this team could be. And yet you look at the standing and you see their record and you see where they sit. And it makes you want to rip your hair out. It makes you so frustrated because you see a night like last night where those 2 guys combined for 4 home runs. Corbin Carroll makes a great play in the outfield on Ronald Acuna Jr. on the 2nd pitch of the game. Take away the home run that would tie it. And you see those 2 guys at the top of this lineup, 6 hits, 7 of the 8 runs, 4 home runs, both of them with multi-home run games. And it gets you excited about where this team can potentially go. And it gets you excited that if they figure out their pitching, if they figure out the bullpen, what wasn't bad last night, didn't ask a whole lot of them. That is now what? 3 days days in a row without adding something to the meltdown meter? You know that sign they have in the workplace, this many days since an incident? Perhaps we need to start this many days since the Diamondbacks bullpen meltdown. They won on Sunday, right? Against the Nationals. That's day one. We didn't have a meltdown on Monday because we didn't play. We didn't meltdown last night because we won. So we are 3 days removed from our most recent meltdown. 3 days removed from the most recent meltdown. What do we do with Saturday's game where you give up 10 runs in the first inning? It's not a bullpen meltdown. But is that a meltdown that gets added to our counter? Or do we just,
I don't think so.
So it's 3 days since
because on our sheet. Say you were down double digits before you saw the first pitch.
You stepped into the box to see the first pitch. You were already down 10-0. So you can't blow it. So, all right, we're 4 days since the last incident. 4 days since the last meltdown from this team.
4 days since our last nonsense.
Since our last meltdown. Put it up on the wall. Put it up on the board. We'll keep adding to it. Diamondbacks picked a win last night because their stars showed up. So if they can solve the bullpen, if we can continue to add days to that counter, if the rotation can find some stability. Because guess what? It's not a fluke. Robert Carroll can produce. It's how Marte can produce. This team can score enough. They just got to handle it on the one prevention side. That's been the problem. Last night, did a great job. Picked up a win 2 in a row. Added another day to the meltdown countdown. 4 days since our last meltdown for this team. We go for a series win. When we come back, your calls always 480-864-1060. We'll hear from you over on the KDUSA and 1060 YouTube live stream as well. Come back. Is there a very important seal of approval that should change our opinion of the Jordan Ott hire? It's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more. That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards. Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games and threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here at KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app. The Offspring. Supercharged worldwide in 25. On unforgettable summer nights, The Offspring live in Phoenix with special guests Jimmy E. Plot and New Found Glory. Playing Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater August 27th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. 3 great bands. 1 incredible show. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Hear that? That's the sound of a loaded cash explosion. It happens every time someone wins loaded cash explosion scratchers from the Arizona lottery. Oh, it's happening again. Since tickets are loaded with $1,000 prizes with explosive top prizes.
outside, not just in the home, and all the amenities are just amazing. We would buy Fulton Homes again in a heartbeat. I don't think we'd consider anybody else.
Fulton Homes. You're proud to own, we're proud to build.
Attention high schoolers, let's collab this summer with free summer school at Primavera Online. Our summer courses are flexible and only 4 weeks long. Now enrolling for grades 9 to 12 at freesummerschool.com.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KTUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KTUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KTUS1060.com and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KTUS AM 1060, Chris Schubert with you. Big story of the day, the Suns have got their guy. According to Shams Charania, the Phoenix Suns are hiring Cleveland Cavaliers assistant Jordan Ott as the next head coach that will lead this team into its next chapter, a chapter that is all about
the alignment.
And we opened the show sharing our opinion, our thoughts on the hiring of Jordan Ott, and we said that from a qualifications perspective, Jordan Ott fits the bill. He checks all of the boxes of what we wanted to see the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns have on the resume. That he was a guy who could communicate, that he was an assistant coach, was looking for his first chance to be a head coach, was young, had a defensive mind a little bit. And in the case of Ott, he is supposedly very good at both offensive and defensive game planning. But the cloud that hovers over all of this is the Michigan State connection. I want to offer up a piece of information, and I want to offer it up in the hopes that perhaps it can change your opinion, because it did make me stop and think for just a second when I heard it as well. Quote tweeting his own tweet about the Suns hiring Cleveland Cavaliers assistant Jordan Ott, Shams Charania offered up the following. Suns franchise cornerstone Devin Booker was involved in the search process during the final stages and stamped Ott as his top choice as well, sources said. Ott has been on NBA coaching staffs with the Hawks, Nets, Lakers, and Cavs since 2012. Should that change our opinion? Should Devin Booker putting his own seal of approval on this, him offering up, hey, between these two guys, between Johnny Bryant and Jordan Ott. Now, Shams says final stages. So is he brought into the loop when they were down to 6? Or was he only brought into the loop when they were down to 2? Either way, at some point, Devin Booker put his seal of approval. He gave his stamp that said, yes, Jordan Ott is the guy that I want as the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns. So should that change our minds? Devin Booker does not have the connections to Michigan State that Brian Gregory and Matt Ishbia have. There is no cloud that hovers over Devin Booker if he said that Jordan Ott was the best candidate, that he wanted Jordan Ott to be the next head coach, that he thought Ott would be a good fit, that he and Ott would get along, and that this is the right guy to lead the next chapter. There is no nepotism. There is no bad optic of Devin Booker signing off on this. So should it allow us to maybe take a step back, reset here and say, maybe the Michigan State thing isn't that big of a deal. Maybe it isn't the be-all, end-all. Maybe we shouldn't focus too much on it because Devin Booker also was a part of this process, and he doesn't have any of those ties. He doesn't have any of those connections. He doesn't have any of that conflict of interest that the other two guys share, and he signed off on this. He picked Ott as, to quote Shams, his top choice. That should matter in all of this. Now, I can't overlook the Michigan State ties. I can't completely put it to the side. But I can at least take this information that Devin Booker signed off on this and say, okay, Jordan Ott deserves a clean slate. He deserves a chance to be the right guy for this job. He deserves an opportunity to prove that he's the right guy to be the next Suns head coach. He's earned that opportunity with his resume. Devin Booker signed off on it. Okay, let's go. Let's see what you got. Let's build a roster now. Let's try to put together a team that can compete sooner rather than later. This is a heavy lift. Jordan Ott's going to have to do a lot of that player development that's a part of his background. But okay, let's go. But the Michigan State thing is still going to be a cloud that hovers over all of this because of Ishbia, because of Gregory, because of all the other qualified candidates that were in there. But I did pause today. I did stop today when we were show prepping and figuring out how we wanted to go about talking about this. When I saw the news that Devin Booker was invited into this process, was a part of the final stages, and he also stamped, to quote Shams Charania, stamped Ott as his top choice as well. I would like to know how that conversation went. I would like to know if it was, hey, Devin, this is who we're hiring, your thoughts. And he was like, yeah, that's fine with me. Shams saying it was his top choice makes me think that Devin Booker didn't necessarily stick his neck out, but he was open, honest, shared his opinion, and he said, this is the guy that I want.
It also makes you think that he was involved slightly enough with some of the other candidates, right? His top choice means that he had some kind of list, right? It means he had other choices.
Yeah.
If it's that's the number one of all of them.
Yeah. That there were other coaching candidates that he considered. And for those out there who are upset at the idea that Devin Booker was involved in this process and that Devin Booker isn't the GM of the team, he's not the owner of the team, he shouldn't have a say. It's not how it goes anymore.
That's the NBA.
No, that's sports.
Yeah.
You make a managerial change in baseball, you're going to talk to your star player. The Yankees want to make a change with Aaron Boone.
Judge gets say.
Aaron Judge is consulted on, hey, you have a great pulse of the locker room, the clubhouse. How is this going to be received? Is this the right thing? Are we missing the mark here? You invite your star players. You invite your franchise cornerstones. And I know there's a lot of people out there who don't think Devin Booker is a franchise cornerstone. I disagree with you. I think Devin Booker is a franchise cornerstone. He is certainly being treated as a franchise cornerstone. He's going to get an extension this summer that makes him a franchise cornerstone, pays him to the tune of $75 million a season. If that's the type of money you're going to dole out for one player, you betcha that guy gets a seat at the table. That guy's opinion matters in all of this because that guy you've invested in. And you've invested in him because you think that he's the guy that's going to bring the first championship to this city. You don't think that you want that guy to get along with who the head coach is, that guy has to have, let's use a word,
the alignment
with the head coach to be able to win that championship. You may not like it. You may want to go back to the days where the owner hires the GM hires the coach. Those two work together to put together the roster, and there's that separation between the players and the front office. That is not the way sports work anymore in 2025. Doesn't work that way. Your big, important franchise cornerstones get a seat at the table. Devin Booker got a seat at the table, and he said, I want Jordan Ott. That should mean something to all of us. We should listen to it. That's not to say we can't talk about the Michigan State cloud, that we can't talk about how we wanted Chris Quinn or we wanted Dave Bliss, that we thought that there were better, more qualified candidates. But it should mean something that the franchise star of this team was involved in this process, and this is also the conclusion that he came to. It at least allows me to live in a world, I don't know how real it is, but it allows me to live in a world where Jordan Ott actually was the best candidate, that he actually earned this job. Not to say his resume didn't earn it. His resume did earn it. But there are people out there today that are going to say that the fix was in on this, that this team knew what they wanted to do from the get-go. And they may be right. I cannot prove them wrong. But Devin Booker also coming to this same conclusion at least throws a little bit of cold water on that. it at least opens the door for me to be able to say Jordan Ott might have been the most qualified candidate. He might have been the guy that impressed the Suns the most. And the Michigan State thing was a nice little cherry on top, but it wasn't the deciding factor. And that's a world I'd like to live in. I can live in a world where the Michigan State thing is a cherry on top. The world I don't want to live in is where the Michigan State thing is front and center. And there's a lot of it being front and center. But Devin Booker being involved in this process, Devin Booker stamping Jordan Ott with his own seal of approval, I paused this morning because when Jordan Ott got hired, I said, yep, here we go again. More Michigan State ties. Of course, this is what they did. People are going to say that the fix was in, that they had a predetermined outcome from the get-go, and there is nothing that I can do to combat that. If you feel that way today, I don't blame you for feeling that way. I get it. I see why you feel that way. I don't think you're crazy for feeling that way. The dots are too easy to connect there. All of it makes sense. But I paused a little bit when I saw that tweet from Shams about Devin Booker because it at least made me rethink my position just a little bit. Do I worry about Jordan Ott's Michigan State connections being used against him? Absolutely. Do I worry about the first time things go south for this team? We're all going to run to talk about how you hired people because they were from Michigan State and you didn't hire the most qualified people for the job, even though in this instance, you have a qualified candidate in Jordan Ott. Yes, I worry about all of those things. But I worry a little bit less, a little bit, just a smidge, because Devin Booker also came to this conclusion. He doesn't have the bias that Ishbia and Gregory may have. He is removed from it. Let's face it, you may think that players are bad GMs and players are bad judges of coaches. And I think there's plenty of examples to prove that you may be right if you think that. Devin Booker wants to win. Devin Booker wants to win here. Devin Booker wants to be the centerpiece of bringing the first NBA championship to this city. Do you think he's going to give the seal of approval and pick a head coach just because of the Michigan State ties? Do you think that's really what Devin Booker is thinking about? Or is Book thinking about who is going to get me the closest to winning that championship? Just a different perspective to think about this. While you're hot about Ott being the selection, about another Michigan State guy with those Michigan State ties being the ultimate choice here, just like it was with Brian Gregory, just an alternative viewpoint to think about today. Because Devin Booker doesn't have those connections. Devin Booker doesn't have that conflict of interest. And he also, according to reports, came to that conclusion. John over on our YouTube says, will he be a yes man to Booker? I don't think so. I don't think Jordan Ott is just going to be a yes man and placate to the franchise cornerstone. Is he going to work alongside Book? Yeah, and that's a good thing because I don't think there's been a lot of that here. How did Coach Bud get along with Devin Booker? We remember talking about him calling Book into his office and saying, hey, dude, tone it down. Your voice, I don't want it. Got to let the coaches coach. And we said at the time, that's bad. That is a bad thing to say to your franchise player. So if Jordan Ott goes a little bit in the other direction and involves Book a little more and allows his voice to be heard, you know what? I'm okay with that. 480-864-1060 is the phone number. We also want to hear from you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream as well. When we come back, I would assume a basketball-heavy edition of Buy or Sell awaits us. Producer Evan will have all of the takes. I will either buy or sell them. We'll do it next to wrap up hour number 1 of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us. Judas Priest and Alice Cooper. The metal gods, Judas Priest. The godfather of shock rock, Alice Cooper. October 22nd, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater with special guest, Corrosion of Conformity. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Presented by 100.7 KSLX, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
A noisy garage door is a cry for help. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner at A1 Garage Door Service. Most repairs are simple, but if left untreated, they can turn into costly repairs. Your garage door works hard every day, and a little maintenance goes a long way. We fix garage doors fast with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. From repairs to upgrades, it's A1 from day one. Call A1 Garage Door Service, and you'll be smiling today.
A1Garage.com. A1 from day one.
We're chatting with our guest, always safety first, 811 Megaphone Man. You never stray from your mission of letting homeowners, landscapers, and excavators know you should always call 811 before you dig.
Call 811.
Call for both small and big jobs. And 2 working days in advance?
811.
Any parting words? And I'm guessing they will be...
Call 811 before you dig.
Brought to you by Southwest Gas.
811.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like unloading the grocery bags from your car and you decide you can get all the bags in one trip.
I can do it.
So you load up all 14 grocery bags on both arms. Sure, you can't feel your fingers and forgot to take your house keys out.
Almost there.
But you never put down one bag and you made it inside all in one trip like the bag-carrying boss you are.
Yes.
Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh, my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Hey, if you're listening over on the KDUS AM 1060 app or you're streaming us on KDUS1060.com, you can listen for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Arizona Diamondbacks when they take on the San Diego Padres on Sunday, June 15th at Chase Field. You have a better way to spend Father's Day. We'll wait. Spend a day with Dad at Chase Field and get them the Father's Day polo shirt. Only the first 15,000 dads will receive one. We've got your chance to get 4 tickets for that game. You can also get your tickets over at dbacks.com/SGT. And as we always say about these things, all we are giving away are the tickets, the 4 tickets. You want to get the Father's Day polo shirt, you got to get there before the other 15,000 dads. Okay? You'll win the tickets.
Doesn't matter if you're 15,000.
Right.
Just don't be 1501.
Right. But I don't have a Father's Day polo shirt to give you with these tickets. I'm giving you the tickets. You got to go to the game and get the shirt. That's the way it works.
Gosh, Father's Day Sunday?
Sunday, June 15th.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to throw a panic out there for you. You got some time.
Okay.
You got some time. It is buy or sell to close up our number 1 here of the program. And it's where we invite in producer Evan. He normally has 5 or so takes that I'm either buying or selling. I'm assuming a lot of Suns-related stuff, a lot of Jordan Ott-related stuff, but this is why we kick the show over to you, and then you take us in whatever direction you want. So take it away, my friend.
All right. We do have 3 Suns-related ones. We'll get into them first. The Suns will have to make the playoffs this year for Suns fans to think that Jordan Ott was deserving of the hire.
So you're trying to get to the expectations that are going to be levied onto Jordan Ott because of the Michigan State thing and what he has to do to kind of overcome that and to make it a non-story, because it's going to be a story.
Always.
It is. I don't want to say always.
And by the way, unless they come out and if he is awesome, nobody will ever talk about it.
I don't want to say always, because you're right. There is a pathway for it to becoming a haha, remember when sort of thing. Do I think it is this team makes the playoffs next year? I'll buy this. If they make the playoffs next year, I think we never talk about this again, other than joking about it. Because then it will be spinned as a positive. It'll be spinned as, oh wow, they were onto something.
The alignment.
They were onto something.
They got aligned.
People
are going to talk about it. They got aligned in the 2025 offseason, and it worked.
They made the playoffs. This is a good coach. If they make the playoffs, this is a good coach. This is a good GM, even though he's a first-time GM.
If they make the playoffs in this current situation they're in, and let's say they get rid of Beal, they get rid of Durant, they become better, they make the playoffs. I mean, think about the victory lap Ishbia is going to be doing.
Yeah, and you know what? You can take that victory lap. You can dunk the basketball. You can spike the football. You can do all of those things, and it would shed the stigma that applies to this. Now, I want to make an amendment to buying this. If they don't make the playoffs, it does not mean Jordan Ott is a bad coach.
No.
It just will allow the Michigan State cloud to linger. That's all.
By the way, I wasn't trying to say that in that buy or sell. I just think that the conversations will get louder, especially if they have another bad year.
Michael says that he will apologize, and there's been a lot of Michael is slandering everybody over on the YouTube chat. He says,
Michael's been really aggressive today.
He's hot today.
Yeah.
He's hot. And again, I get that feeling. I get it. I understand. I mean, producer Evan can attest to this. When the news broke, I was pretty hot. I cooled down as we got closer to the show.
I cooled down, to be honest with you, once we watched that clip, and I urge people to watch it, and we should post it on our socials or something, because it really talks about his philosophy in coaching, and I really think he's going to be good for this iteration of Suns basketball.
The video we watched plus the Booker news allowed me to go, okay.
Yeah.
This may be better than I thought it was.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. On the very flip side of the first one,
okay.
Even if Jordan Ott and Brian Gregory does not go well, Matt Ishbia will continue to hire from Michigan State.
I'll sell this. And I'll sell this because it leads into something that we're going to talk about coming up at the top of the hour. Whether or not he thinks this is what he's doing, he's placing another big bet. And whether or not it's by design, the first time it was by design, and again, we're going to dive into this in the top of the hour. But what he did when he first got here, that was by design. He chose those players, decided to make a big splash. He did that on purpose. I don't know if this is purposeful or if they're stumbling into this. And I don't know if it's the overarching theme of I've got to have Michigan State guys. But either way, he's making another big bet. And if it doesn't pay off, I think he'll learn from it. I think. So I'll sell this.
That'll be interesting to see. You touched on this, and I didn't want you to touch on it further because I knew I had it in buy or sell.
Sorry.
But the Knicks job opening up yesterday certainly had an impact on the Suns making their decision today.
It depends, right? If Booker had Jordan Ott as his favorite, then Johnny Bryant was always behind on this. So the Knicks didn't impact them at all because they were focused on Ott. They weren't focused on Johnny Bryant. And I don't know. I know he's the favorite because he was there with Thibodeau, and so he knows a lot of the players. And so there's kind of a natural 1 + 1 = 2. But Johnny Bryant's never been a head coach before. That team's got to win right away. It doesn't feel like a natural, clean square peg into square hole.
Then I also saw, late last night, did you see Michael Malone into the conversation as the favorite?
If Knicks fans are upset about Tom Thibodeau not using a bench and not using the depth of the team,
what are they going to think about Michael Malone?
Michael Malone did the same thing in Denver. Now, Michael Malone won a championship.
He also had Jokic.
Yeah. And no offense to Brunson and Cat, but you're not Jokic.
Yeah.
I think it's a sell. I think I'm selling.
I agree.
You got
last
time for
one,
one
we'll
quick
probably
one.
have time.
Yeah.
If the D-backs want to stay alive while Burns is out, Carroll and Marte are both going to have to play at MVP levels like we saw last night.
They don't have to hit 4 home runs every game, but they need to play at levels that we've seen them play at before because that's going to take a weight off of the shoulders of this pitching staff. Hour number 2 of the program. More on the Suns hiring Jordan Ott next. It's the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
For many, a warm bed or meal is just the beginning. The Salvation Army provides people facing hardship with a hand up, not a handout. Food, shelter, clothing, rent and utilities assistance, and community resources are just some of the ways we help people get back on their feet. Learn how you can give hope to your neighbors in need. Visit SalvationArmySouthwest.org. Above all, love. Sponsored by the Salvation Army Southwest Division.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, Saturday, August 2nd. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com. It's about to get heavy. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit Shinedown.com.
Welcome to Disneyland.
Get excited to join the Disneyland Resort 70th celebration. Because it's not a celebration without you. With all the decor, the new character outfits, and dazzling shows. Everyone's excited to join. Delight in special 70th experiences, like an all-new World of Color show, the returning favorite Paint the Night Parade, and so much more, only for a limited time. So come join us for this once-in-a-lifetime celebration with a special ticket offer as low as $100 per day with a special 4-day, 1-park-per-day ticket. Total price $400. Valid May 16 through August 14, 2025. Park ticket and reservation required. Visit Disneyland.com/70 ticket offer for details. Offering subject to capacity restrictions and change without notice.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
One study found that half of all clients are unhappy with their lawyer. The number one complaint, a total lack of communication.
That's why we survey our clients and know over 97% are happy. Do your research. Call the husband and wife law team first.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
12 o'clock hour of the lunch break. Chris Schubert with you. Always appreciate you joining us, whether you're listening to us on AM 1060, you're streaming us on the KDUS AM 1060 app or KDUS1060.com, or you're joining us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube or Twitter channels. Always appreciate you joining us, especially on a big day like today when there's big news that impact one of the teams here in town, and that big top story that we will continue to dive into during this hour of the show. The Suns reportedly getting their guy. Jordan Ott will be the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns, and we always want to hear from you. I've shared my opinion. I've told you that I at first thought that this was just a continuation of the same old Michigan State stuff and how that is a cloud that still hovers over all of this, but I am willing to give this a shot. I am more open to this than I was a couple of weeks ago. That's my opinion. I want to hear from you. And I love our P1s. I love the regulars, the everydayers, the folks that are with us in the weeds on this program. And over on YouTube, we got John and Michael. We shout them out all the time. But they both have said something within the last 20 minutes or so that I think is a sentiment that a lot of people have today. And so that's where I want to start before getting into what Matt Ishbia is doing right now and the big bet that whether he knows it or not, he is making. John says the search was all a show to try to get us to believe in the Suns and their due diligence. Then Michael said, the Suns will say, look, we took 3 weeks looking at assistants, but we all know that Ott was going to get the job, and I said it weeks ago, and that's why I am upset. I am not upset that Ott got the job. The way the Suns did it was BS. Here's the problem. And I said this to producer Evan during the morning meeting. There is nothing that I can say right now to change that opinion. There's nothing. If you think that, If you think that this whole thing was a sham, that this whole thing was designed from the get-go for the Suns to get to the place of Jordan Ott, and they went through all of these hoops. They cast that wide net. They had 15-plus candidates. They whittled it down to the 9, and then the 6, and then to the 2, and then got to Jordan Ott. If you thought all of it was a show, all of it was a circus, a soap opera, all designed to convince you that they were doing their due diligence and that they have changed. If you think that they got in a room and they said, we're hiring Jordan Ott, but we got to make it look like we're not hiring Jordan Ott. So we're going to do this whole process, and we're going to talk to a bunch of these people, and then we're just going to take our time. We're going to make it really look like we're painstakingly trying to figure out who the next head coach of this team is going to be. But we all know it's going to be Jordan Ott. If that's what you think, I can't change your mind today. I can't. There's nothing that I can tell you as a radio host who's supposed to have opinions. There's nothing I can tell you today to change that opinion. I can't fault you for thinking that. I don't think that. I think the Suns did go into this with an open mind. I think they did go into this looking for the best candidate. They did go into this trying to get the right guy so that we're not doing this again next year, that we're not doing this again 2 years from now. I truly believe that Matt Ishbia, when his head hits the pillow every night, he dreams of doing whatever it takes to bring this city, this team, this franchise, its first championship. I believe that. I don't think he always makes the right decisions. I don't trust his decision-making process, but I believe that everything he does is through the lens of trying to win a championship, to trying to bring this team its first championship. I believe that this coaching search was thorough, that they did their due diligence, that they did go into it with an open mind. But if you don't think that today, I cannot blame you. I understand why, because he has a Michigan State connection, that he's the guy that they hired today. Because they hired a GM. I mean, you have more proof. You have more proof on your end of this argument than I do. Because your proof is, look at who they hired as their GM, Chris. They hired a GM with 0 experience that Matt Ishbia was coached by at Michigan State. And then that guy who's never hired a head coach in his life, who's never done any part of the GM job, just so happens to land on a guy that has those Michigan State ties. Again, the proof is on your end of the equation. I am taking the side of betting on Matt Ishbia and Brian Gregory actually going through this process and trying to find the right guy for the job. I am betting on a complete unknown. I am betting on something that I have no proof to back up. I'm betting on the Phoenix Suns learning their lesson from their last couple of head coaching searches, and this time being different. That's what I'm betting on today. But I can't blame you for thinking that. But I'm not the only one that's making a bet. Because whether he thinks he is or not, Matt Ishbia is making another big bet. It is the second big bet that he has made since becoming the owner of the Phoenix Suns. The first was when he first got here. And he made the determination and he made the decision that the way for this team to win was to push the chips all the way in to the middle. And he went out and got 2 stars, or what he thought were 2 stars, in Kevin Durant and in Bradley Beal. And he built himself a big 3. That was a bet that he made. Why was it a bet? Because if you looked around the NBA at that time, and if you look around the NBA as we sit here today on June 4th, 2025, you don't build championship contenders that way anymore. Does Indiana have a big 3? Does Oklahoma City have a big 3? Did the Knicks have a big 3? Did Minnesota have a big 3? Did Boston have a big 3 last year when they won their title? Did Denver have a big 3? Did Milwaukee have a big 3? Just go through all of the last couple of championship winners in the NBA. Did any of them have a big 3? So Matt Ishbia made a bet. He zigged when everybody was zagging. It didn't work out. Colossal failure. Led us to where we are today. And whether he means to or not, he's making another big bet. And that bet is that Brian Gregory and Jordan Ott are the ticket to this team being relevant again and the ticket to this team winning a championship. Because I want to paint a picture for you for just a second. What if this is a complete failure? What if Brian Gregory is a failure of a GM? It's not out of the realm of possibility. It's a first-time GM. Has never done it before. He's going to be learning on the job at a really critical time for this franchise. There's a world where he's just bad at this. There's a world where his skill set as a head coach in the college ranks doesn't match up with being able to be a successful NBA GM. What if Jordan Ott isn't the right fit as the head coach and this doesn't work? What if it is just like the first bet that Matt Ishbia made? What if it is a colossal failure? Then even more so than he was when the Durant, Booker, Beal thing didn't work out, Matt Ishbia will be the laughing stock of the NBA because he has given everybody. He has given the P1s. He has given the Michaels and Johns of the world. He has given the national media members like Stephen A. Smith. He has given all of them the easiest punchline of all time by hiring a first-time GM with Michigan State ties, by hiring a first-time NBA head coach with Michigan State ties. Matt Ishbia has bet that this is going to work so that he is not the laughing stock of the NBA again. The easiest punchline in the world. Hey, remember that time that Matt Ishbia, after falling flat on his face in building a big three, decided to just hire guys that had ties to the university that he went to? And we all said it was going to be a failure, and it absolutely was a failure? Easiest punchline in the world. Matt Ishbia will be the butt of every NBA joke forever. Anytime a player enters the draft from Michigan State, you're going to joke that the Suns are going to draft him. Every time there's an NBA coaching news in the future that potentially could revolve around the Phoenix Suns, if this doesn't work out, the moment there's a Michigan State connection, the jokes write themselves. That's the bet that he's making. Matt Ishbia is not a stupid man. You may think Matt Ishbia isn't good at any of this. And the track record, again, falls in your favor. And I don't necessarily disagree. But Matt Ishbia didn't get to where he was because he's a stupid man. He knows what people are going to say today. He knows the jokes that are going to be written. He knows the think pieces that are going to be out there. He knows what media members are going to say. And he is betting that all of that is wrong. He is betting that Brian Gregory is the right guy to be the GM. He is betting that Jordan Ott is the right guy to be the head coach, the Michigan State connections aside. It's a pretty big bet. It's potentially a larger bet than trading for Kevin Durant and trading for Bradley Beal. And the reason why it's a larger bet than trading for Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant is because he's already failed once. And so it's always easier to laugh at somebody when they fail the second time. You're expecting the failure the second time. And even in the face of that potential failure a second time, he didn't run away from this. Think about what everybody was saying.
The alignment.
When Brian Gregory was hired. How could you do this? How could you hire a guy who's never done this before and have the Michigan State ties? How could you lean in to the criticism that everybody has about you? And then you double down. This is a doubling down. And I don't think it's a doubling down because Matt Ishbia thinks he's the smartest man in the room and he's going to prove everybody wrong. I think it is a doubling down because he thinks these two guys can get this team out of it. For his sake, for this franchise's sake, for all of our sake, I hope that this bet is right. Because if this bet is wrong, the Phoenix Suns are going to find themselves in a place that you never want to be as a sports franchise. Your fan base doesn't trust your owner. Your fan base doesn't trust that you have the person in charge to get out of this mess because then it would be 0 for 2.
You don't get a third chance. Everybody was excited about Durant and Beal and what they were building. Everybody was excited about who Matt Ishbia was as an owner. The coaching cycle, all of those coaches, the revolving door, and now this. There is no grace period anymore for Matt Ishbia. This has to work. So whether he means to or not, whether he did this because of the Michigan State stuff or not, he is betting on these guys, and he is betting that he is not going to be the butt of the joke. For his sake and for all of our sake, I hope that he is right. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. We've also got you covered over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream as well. When we come back, Zac Gallen, it was a return to form last night, and they are going to need a lot more where that came from. That's next on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Hey listeners, Vince DeLisio with the Varsity Sports Show. Tune in this Saturday and every Saturday through the summer as we feature the best in Arizona. We'll feature some interesting segments and some things we'll have fun with. We'll hear from administrators throughout the summer talking about what their summer plans are. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll have an enjoyable ride all summer long on the Varsity Sports Show, Saturday mornings, 9 to 11 on AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Stevie Nicks. One special night, October 7th, PHX Arena. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Stevie Nicks. Live at PHX Arena.
When you hear crunch, whine, boing, Alaskan AC will arrive to fix it in less than 24 hours from the first crunch, whine, boing. No matter what kind of crunch, whine, or boing your AC is making. We fix it on your schedule.
That's huge. We guarantee to be there in 24 hours or less, or the repair is free.
We not only get there fast, we Polar Bear promise we'll get the job done right. We believe you deserve fresh air free of humidity in every room of your home, and you should never hear crunch, whine, boing. If you do, call Alaskan AC, and we guarantee we'll be there in under 24 hours. If we don't make it, your repair will be free.
No matter how big the crunch,
boing, or whine.
Wait, I thought I was whine.
You're crunch. I'm crunch. You're boing. I don't think I'm boing. Gary's more of a boing than me.
William is crunch.
Schedule now and tell us who boing is. Only at AlaskanAC.com.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Danny Hurley has it made in Stores, Connecticut. 2 national titles in 3 years, full control of a powerhouse program. But after the Knicks parted ways with Tom Thibodeau, you can't help but wonder, maybe the UConn boss would make the leap to the NBA. We've done this before. Last summer, he didn't hide his interest in the Lakers job, loved the idea of testing himself in the pros, but ultimately listened to his wife and stayed in Connecticut. The Knicks, well, that might be different. Madison Square Garden, practically in his backyard. He grew up in New Jersey, a big Knicks fan. New York has money, the fan base, and maybe even a little more enticing roster than what LA offered last year. The East could be wide open, and with UConn taking a small step back last year, maybe the timing finally lines up. Now, there's no confirmation the Knicks are calling or that he would be picking up that phone. But if last summer told us anything, it's this. Danny Hurley's not afraid of making the leap, or at least knocking on the door. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. If you played pickleball in regular sneakers, you know you can pay the price. They don't cut it. And Todd found this out the hard way. We have this great sponsor, Tyrell. They make the best pickleball shoes. So one day Todd is playing pickleball and he forgot his Tyrell pickleball shoes. Well, you know what happened? He got hurt. He was playing in some fancy different shoes that aren't meant for pickleball, and he learned a lesson. Tyrell has everything you need to keep your feet cool They're tough. They're lightweight. They're so solid on your feet, and you're going to wear and tear on the court, and they're ready to go. Every detail is built to help you play better. Tyrol pickleball shoes. If you want to play longer, feel better, and stop sliding around in those old sneakers, go to TyrolPickleball.com. You can look like a pro. You can play like a pro. It's Tyrol pickleball shoes. You spell it Tyrol. Tyrol pickleball shoes, the best pickleball shoes, purpose-built for pickleball.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you. Time flies when you're having fun. We're having fun here today on the show. Cannot believe it is almost nearly 12:30. Unpacking a lot from Jordan Ott, reportedly being hired as the next head coach of your Phoenix Suns, breaking down the Diamondbacks in their big win last night. A little bit of a mini winning streak here for this team. They'll go for the series win tonight, and didn't mention it, focused on the star bats last night for this team when we touched on the Diamondbacks in hour number one. But let's talk about Zac Gallen, who returned to form last night. And he returned to form in the most obvious way of all time. Producer Evan, what has been the knock this season, this year, about Zac Gallen? What has led to the struggles where he goes into last night 3-7 with an ERA north of 5.5? What has been the biggest issue for Zac Gallen?
1, 2, 3, 4, first base.
Walks. The free pass has been the issue for Zac Gallen. So in the easiest twist of fates of all time, Zac Gallen throws strikes last night. He doesn't walk guys, and Zac Gallen looks like the Zac Gallen that we know that he can be. That's it. We're done. No, I don't need to go any further this segment. That's it. That's what happened last night. Zac Gallen threw strikes. Zac Gallen did not issue the free pass. Zac Gallen poured it in the strike zone. Also, interestingly enough, saw this in doing a breakdown today. And I don't know how accurate this is because sometimes StatCast classifies pitches weird and then they go back and fix them. He didn't throw a single slider last night. And I'm trying to remember in my head while watching the game if I remember him throwing a slider, and I don't. But that doesn't mean he didn't throw one and I just missed it. But a guy who throws his slider 9% of the time just avoided it altogether last night against the Braves. And so the reason why I bring it up was that part of a new game plan that we may see from Zac Gallen? Throwing the fastball, throwing the knuckle curve, throwing the changeup, and maybe staying away from the slider. Now, I think the fastball is more of a problem because he misses with that more than anything else, but just something to file away. But he threw strikes. First 3 innings, he threw like 25 pitches. Efficiency times 100.
And listen, it's easy to get down on yourself there in the 4th inning when things aren't going your way, and that team fell apart.
Well, let's talk about why things didn't go Zac Gallen's way, because you know whose fault it wasn't? It wasn't Zac Gallen's fault that things didn't go his way. I mean, this is the Diamondbacks in a nutshell. Zac Gallen is cruising. Not a single problem. One hard hit ball by Ronald Acuna in the first. Other than that, this is a walk in the park for Zac Gallen against the Atlanta Braves. 20-something pitches. We're already in the 4th inning. He's making mincemeat of this Braves lineup. Not a problem. And then in the 4th inning, okay, we give up a home run. That's going to happen. We're gonna miss a spot. Somebody's going to take us deep. A solo shot. We've got a nice, comfortable lead. No problem. We get the next out. We've got 2 outs. And then Eugenio Suarez just completely forgets how to play third base. And a team that is supposed to be crisp defensively, a team that is supposed to not have those things happen to them, Eugenio Suarez misplays a ball and then olays another ball and lets one go by him. Eugenio Suarez is a Gold Glove caliber third baseman. This is a guy who's a sure-handed defender. To make those back-to-back plays tells me that it's a mental thing at this point. He didn't forget how to play third base. I know he's older, but those aren't plays where he's ranging to his left and has to try to get a ball in the hole. It's not a ball that he's ranging all the way to his right. He got to both balls. He got to both of them. He botches the one off of his glove, and then he olays the other. Those are mental mistakes. Those are just the little things. As a player gets older, an outfielder, you can't cover as much ground. That ball in the gap that you usually get to, as you get older, the legs slow down a little bit. You don't get there. A shortstop, their range isn't as good as it used to be. They can't get to that ball super deep in the hole. The Derek Jeter play, for instance. You can't make that play as you get older because you just don't have the range and the speed that you used to. But anything hit right at you, you're still the same guy, still have the same glove. So if you make those mistakes, that's a mental thing. And you know what? It almost cost the team last night because you thought it. I know you thought it. I know you thought it. Once those 2 runs score, you go, here we go. Here's where it starts. Because now the bullpen has to protect a 2-run or less lead. You don't know what version of the bullpen you're going to get. Let me just do the thing. You just don't know. You're expecting the meltdown meter to get added. You're expecting us to wipe off this many days since a Diamondbacks bullpen incident. You're just prepared for it. Now, luckily, Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte made sure that didn't happen, but you were worried. Zac Gallen's cruising, allows 1 earned run in that entire game, lowers his ERA. Starting off June much better than his May month went, and looked like the guy that we saw early on in the season against the Yankees in New York, doing this on the road. And with or without Corbin Burnes, whether Burnes misses the remainder of the season or he returns to this team at some point, it does not matter. They're going to need that Zac Gallen to show up. Because that Zac Gallen went 7 innings last night. That Zac Gallen shortened the game. And he shortened the game to probably the most trusted setup that this team has right now. Shelby Miller in the 8th, Justin Martinez in the 9th. By Zac Gallen going 7, it's set up for Torrey to deploy. And I don't know if we trust really anybody out there, but if we had to pick the most trusted setup, it is your starter for 7, Shelby in the 8th, Justin Martinez in the 9th. You then poured it on late, so you didn't have to use J Mart. You could use Ryan Thompson. He had a nice inning, didn't cause any major issues, and you picked up the victory. So you got a great night from Zac Gallen. It led to your best bullpen configuration, your most trusted bullpen configuration, and that's the way the Diamondbacks are going to have to do things right now. Until they get more trust in that bullpen, until they get healthy with the return of A.J. Puck in that bullpen, they're going to need length in their starters. They're going to need Zac Gallen to look like he did last night, and he can do that. He can be that guy. Threw a ton of knuckle curves, had such good bite on that thing. Use it more. Use the change more. I would even use the slider. I'd bring that back. I would use the fastball less. The fastball doesn't have the same zip that it used to. That fastball, if he leaves it in a bad spot, it's going to go and go and go, and it's never going to land. The off-speed stuff is what's going to allow him to be consistent. Now, he's got to throw that off-speed stuff for strikes. It's simple. Zac Gallen avoided the walks. He avoided the extra free passes that extend an inning, that drive up his pitch count, that stop him from being able to go deep in games. He has those one inning, I should say, where he walks a couple of batters. Now he's got a 25-30 pitch inning, and that's it. There goes dreams of him pitching into the 7th or 8th inning. As John points out over on YouTube, Thomas catch in, the 7th or the 8th, that saved 2 runs. Yeah, they got great defense. Carroll made a play. Thomas made a great play. Shelby did make us a little nervous last night.
I mean, they got great defense. It shouldn't have been close if the 4th inning doesn't happen.
If the 4th inning doesn't happen, it's a little bit of a different story. Right. The game plays out a little differently, for sure.
Listen, you're not circling Shelby Miller's inning and saying, what a clean 8th.
No. Again, I said earlier, we don't trust really anybody in that bullpen, but the 2 most trusted guys that I think you have are Shelby in the 8th, Justin Martinez in the 9th. They didn't make it. It wasn't a meltdown. Listen, the way I view these things now is, does it end up on the list? Does it end up on the meltdown meter? No. Game, it did not. That game did not.
Can't argue with that.
Can't argue. Did not end up on the meltdown meter. And Zac Gallen was great last night. And I thought it was really good to see him bounce back in the way that he did, be dominant the way that he did. Because, again, I know he leaves the game allowing 3 runs and it's a close game. But if he gets some better defense behind him, he's out of that inning. He does allow the home run. Yes, that's on him. But he got the next guy out. He had 2 outs in the inning. And then it falls apart because he gets 2 ground balls. He should be in the dugout, only allowing the 1 run via a home run. And instead, the wheels start to fall off. You can hear the circus music starting to play, and you're worried. Your stomach's starting to churn. The early dinner that you might have had while watching the game was ready to come back up. It didn't. They got through it. They put the win in their back pocket, and I'm sorry. I don't care how you win at this point. Win ugly, win pretty. I don't care. To quote the late Al Davis, just win, baby. Just win. That's what the Diamondbacks mantra needs to be right now. It's exactly what they did last night, and they did so because Zac Gallen returned to form. Throw strikes. Pour it in that strike zone. Don't try to get too cute and try to spot the perfect pitch in the perfect spot. Just go out there and execute, throw, utilize your stuff. Changeup's good. Your knuckle curve is your claim to fame. Use that stuff. Pour in those strikes. Get yourself ahead in the count and have those quick, clean innings. 480-864-1060, the phone number. You can also join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream as well. When we come back, note the date and time. It is 12:31 on Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. The Summer of Durant can officially begin. It's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Feeling uneasy about your financial future? You need a partner that helps lighten the load. Welcome to Global Credit Union. It means early payday, your paycheck up to 3 days early with direct deposit, accounts with no NSF fees, and a mobile app with tools to help you manage your family budget. At Global, we take member care seriously with branches near you and a 24/7 US-based call center staffed by real people. Join us at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union.
Hosier presents the Unreal Unearthed Tour 2025 live in Phoenix. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, October 7th. With special guest, Amble. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The #1 album, Unreal Unearthed, is available everywhere. For more, visit hosier.com.
You don't need lunch. You need a lunch miracle. You need Peter Piper Pizza's lunch buffet starting at $9.99. Think about it. A dozen people, 15 lunch ideas, and only an hour to eat? Lunch miracle to the rescue. Peter Piper Pizza's lunch buffet has fun and deliciousness served fresh. Choose from pizzas, pastas, salads, and desserts starting at $9.99 a person. The next time you need a lunchtime miracle on a weekday between 11 and 2, look no further. At Peter Piper Pizza, the fun is baked in.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell Groom's Cake Ice Cream is renewing its vows on the frozen aisle. Milk chocolate ice cream with chocolate cake pieces, chocolate-coated strawberry hearts, swirls of strawberry sauce, and chocolate icing. See you at the reception.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at all Albertsons and all Safeways.
Summer Playfest has arrived at Harris Auction Casino. This summer, win your share of $600,000 in prizes with Caesars Rewards. Plus, join us as live bands light up the stage all season long. Then stay and play for less with our buy one, get one half-off hotel rates. So stay, play, and get rewarded all summer during Summer Playfest. Only at Harris Auction Casino. Play for all. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 or 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Visit the Caesars Rewards Center for details.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back here on the lunch break, Wednesday edition of the show. Chris Schubert with you. I forgot what day it was earlier in the day. I was walking down the hallway and I was saying hello to one of the other program directors for one of the other stations here in the building. And I was like, it's Wednesday, right? And he's like, yeah, I think so. I'm like, I have no idea what day it is anymore. Last week we had a holiday, so it was weird because people weren't in the building, and now the new week started, and the days just get thrown off for me sometimes.
No, it still feels like Labor Day weekend with Monday.
It feels
time's flying.
Right. It feels like today's like a Tuesday show, not a Wednesday show. Probably because we just have a ton of stuff to talk about here.
Well, I also think that as soon as we're planning a show and you go, and day changes.
We had an entire show mapped out, and I saw the news and I went, well, throw all of that out the window. We had all sorts of stuff. That might be a fun. You know what? I'll give everybody a peek behind the curtain. I had a segment written down at one point today where I was going to make the case to all of you that the Suns should pause their head coaching search right now, which feels funny now that here we are talking about Jordan not being the next head coach. I was going to say they need to pause what they're doing and talk to Tom Thibodeau right now.
I still can't believe they didn't.
Well, we never got the chance to have that conversation because they immediately hired Jordan Knott. Now, maybe we should have had it yesterday, but still, we were going to talk about that today. We were going to talk about Johnny Bryant.
When were we going to have it yesterday? You know? In the leftovers or in buy or sell, but even that was...
They fired him right before buy or sell yesterday.
Yeah, right in the break between segment 3 and 4 is when they fired him.
So we were going to talk about that. We were going to talk about Johnny Bryant and the Knicks job. Was there going to be pressure on the Suns to make a move sooner rather than later? And we had all sorts of great stuff. None of it makes it into the show because Jordan not getting hired changed it all. One thing that changes because of Jordan not being hired, but it was going to change regardless of who was hired as the next Suns head coach. We are officially in the summer of Durant. The Phoenix Suns made their changes in the front office. They got themselves a brand new head coach today. They can now focus on what is the biggest task of them all, the heaviest lift of them all. The thing that I think is going to determine whether or not Brian Gregory and Jordan Ott can succeed as the new head coach GM duo here in Phoenix. We're into the summer of Durant, ladies and gentlemen. It is now time for this team to land the plane and nail the Kevin Durant trade. Hit a home run. Maximize this return. Jumpstart this retool. Get the right pieces back that can help Jordan Knott succeed, can help Brian Gregory build a roster, and can get this team back on track. Get this team back into the postseason, back to opening up their championship window. If you've noticed right now in the NBA, things are kind of wide open. We're going to have our 7th different champion. If you play your cards right, if you do things the right way, if you build the right way, if some of the bets you make pay off, it may not take that long for the Suns to be right back in this. We have always said that if you land the right return in the Kevin Durant trade, this could be a 2 or a 3 year process for you to being back in the playoffs. It won't take that long if you get this right. And so now we can really start to focus on this. There's no questions about who the GM is going to be, who's going to be the person making the decision. We no longer have to know who is going to be the head coach. We know who the head coach is going to be. And I guarantee you, this came up in those conversations with Brian Gregory, with Matt Ishbia, with Jordan Ott, what this roster is going to look like, what this team is going to do with Kevin Durant, what this team is going to do with Bradley Beal, what this roster needs to look like next season. All of it was covered in the multiple rounds of interviews that Jordan Ott had before ultimately, reportedly landing this gig. And so now the Suns get to see what they can get back for Kevin Durant. And they can now start to put together a roster. Brian Gregory and Jordan Ott can work together to start to put together this roster. And it begins with trading Kevin Durant. We mentioned to you yesterday the desperation that we feel may be emanating from PHX Arena in downtown Phoenix, that the Suns have reportedly been lowering their asking price every single time they talk to Houston. There's the Minnesota angle to all of this. Could the Knicks want to make another big splash? That might take a little bit because they're going to need to hire a head coach. So you got Houston, you've got Minnesota. Could Toronto be sniffing around in all of this? What about San Antonio, Miami? These are just some of the teams that could be interested in trading for Kevin Durant. But now that you have the GM in place, now that you have the head coach in place, you can actually have substantial conversations, talk to these teams and say, okay, give us your best offer. Put together a trade package. And now Ishbia, Gregory, and Ott can all sit down, can all get together and evaluate which one of these packages gives us the best chance to turn this around. And then you can loop in Kevin Durant. Where does Kevin Durant want to go? What teams is Kevin Durant interested? And I hope it is teams plural, because that will only help the Phoenix Suns in all of this. And then they can execute on this trade and then start to worry about the draft and free agency and build out this roster. You may feel like today is a bad day for the Phoenix Suns. You may be against Jordan not being hired. The thing I would ask of all of you today, look at me being the voice of optimism today. It's a rare path for me. It's rare. I am normally I'm the yeller. I just scream and rant and rave. That's the New York guy in me. I'm ready to just tear everything down at a moment's notice.
Like 15 minutes into them hiring Jordan Ott, and you were hot.
I was red hot. I was red hot. Then I cooled down. I thought about it.
You cooled down. You thought about it, and like you started talking about it. I was like, he's way more positive than I thought.
Yeah. I'm more positive than I thought when I first heard the news. And that's maybe the benefit of time and reading some things. And I'll tell you, the thing that really swayed me about all of this was the Devin Booker piece. It really did. It really swayed me. Him giving it the seal of approval and Sham saying that for Booker, Ott was the top choice. It changed my perspective. It allowed me to say this isn't all about the Michigan State thing. And that's really all I needed to get on board with this. All I needed was for somebody to tell me, hey, it's not all about that. Yeah, it played a role. Yeah, of course it was a part of it. Because, again, this is sports. Nepotism is a thing. Anybody breathes the same air as Sean McVay, they get a head coaching interview, okay? It is relationships. It is who you are associated with. So, of course, the Michigan State thing plays a role. I just didn't want it to play the only role. And the news that Booker had a say in this and that Booker had Ott as his top choice allowed me to say, okay, perhaps this is going to go better than we thought. And so now that Ott is in place, now that Gregory is in place, I want to see what these guys can come up with. I want to see what these guys can cook. I want to see what type of roster this iteration, this brain trust of the Phoenix Suns can put together. Because I'm on record saying I did not like James Jones as the general manager. Was not a fan of the way he built the roster over the last couple of years. So I was all ready for some fresh new ideas. So, all right, Brian Gregory, what do you got? Now it's your time to shine. And then when the season starts, when that roster is put together, all right, Jordan Ott, your time to shine. You're a player development guy. Great. We're going to need it. You're about to get either draft picks or young players back in this Kevin Durant trade. You're going to have to coach those players up. You're going to have to get the most out of those players. You're going to have to help a number of those players reach their potential. So when the season starts, let's see what you got. All of it starts with the Summer of Durant. All of it starts now with what they are able to get back, whether it's draft picks, whether it's young players, whether it's some combination of the two. We now get to start having those conversations. All of it has been theoretical now while we await the head coaching hire. Now we're there. They don't have any other stuff to do. Yeah, Jordan Knott's got to fill out his coaching staff. But now the focus for Brian Gregory and Matt Ishbia and the front office and the higher-ups of this organization can be on, let's get the most for Kevin Durant. Let's set up our young head coach with the best roster possible given the crappy circumstances that this team finds itself in right now. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream as well. When we come back, it is the leftovers, all of the stuff that we didn't get to throughout the course of the show. We'll do it next. KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Join the party on Saturday, June 7th at 7:30 p.m. as Phoenix Rising takes on Orange County in a night full of color, community, and top-tier professional soccer. Be one of the first fans through the gates and grab a free Phoenix Rising beach towel, perfect for summer and perfect for showing your pride. Tickets start at just $15. Grab yours now at phxrisingfc.com.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, Peter Frampton. Let's Do It Again tour, June 25th, Arizona Financial Theater. Grammy winner, the one and only Peter Frampton. On sale now at livenation.com.
Baby, I love you.
It starts with a simple order, a cold Dos Equis dressed with salt and lime. But for the salt clinging to the bottle and the lime perched on top, this is the luckiest of unions. As if the universe has swiped right, pairing flavors together with a crisp Dos Equis. This is refreshment designed by fate, blessed by destiny, and served by bartenders. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business, with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Before we get to the leftovers, I want to tell you you can listen for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Diamondbacks when they take on the San Diego Padres on Sunday, June 15th at Chase Field. It's Father's Day. Best way to spend Father's Day out at Chase Field. Spend a day with Dad at Chase Field and get them the Father's Day polo shirt. Only the first 15,000 dads will receive one. And it's in parentheses here. I'm just reading what the copy tells me. Not included in the contest. It's a giveaway at the gate. So we've got your chance to win the 4 tickets for listening on the app or streaming us on KDUS1060.com. You got to be logged in, registered while you're listening, and you're entered in to win. But all we've got are your 4 tickets. You can also get your tickets at dbacks.com/SGT. You want to get the T-shirt. You want to get the polo shirt, I should say. You got to beat the other dads to the ballpark, okay? The leftovers. All the stories we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. Producer Evan is the one who has them for us. Take it away, my friend.
All right. We will start with the NHL. Actually, some news we haven't touched on all day. Did you hear the Suns hired a new coach?
Yeah, rumor has it. Michigan State guy, next head coach of the Phoenix Suns.
No, but Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers lace them up tonight for the Stanley Cup Finals. Game 1. Kind of crazy. So the Oilers are trying to be the first Canadian team to hoist the cup since 1993. We saw a graphic this morning in the morning meeting. What happened in 1993? And one of them was the PDF was invented.
So the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup, we had just started using the format that we now know is the PDF. That's how long it has been for Canada to have a team hoist the Stanley Cup. There has never been a Canadian team that has won a Stanley Cup in my lifetime. I've never seen it.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't, neither have I. And every homework assignment I've turned in since middle school has been in PDF form.
Yeah, the PDF. Yeah, that was wild when we saw that this morning.
Yeah, that's insane.
By the way, I think it continues. I'll take Florida, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Edmonton, honestly.
No, I didn't say that. I'm rooting for Florida. I'm saying I picked Florida.
For the sole purpose of, God, it'd be awesome to see McDavid win one.
It would. I think there's also it would be fun for the inter-Canadian rivalry that if Edmonton wins one where everybody in Toronto has been waiting and that team's supposed to be really good and they can never get it done, and then Edmonton is able to get it done. I think that there's some trolling there. But I think Florida wins. I think they're the better team. I think they beat them last time. And so because this is a direct rematch, you got to show me. I know it went to 7, but Edmonton had to make a big comeback to even force it to 7. Edmonton's got to show me. Now, they're a better team as well than they were last year, but I'll still take Florida. I'll go Florida in 6.
I said this the other day, and you just touched on it. They're both better.
Both teams better than they were last year.
I think we can get as good, if not a better series this year.
Yes, 100%.
Colorado Rockies have won their first series since last year. And not only was it a win, but officially, as of 5 minutes ago, they have swept the Miami Marlins.
I saw a tweet because I saw the original tweet of somebody trolling the Rockies of how many wins Scotty Scheffler has had. See, like how many wins he has, how many major and how many series wins the Rockies have. So they put out a tweet today after they won. And they said wins since June 2nd. Colorado Rockies 3, Scotty Scheffler 0. You tip your cap to the Colorado Rockies social media team. They're dealing with a lot, okay? There's a lot that's probably getting slung their direction. So to roll with the punches, to have fun in that way, when you've won 12 games all season, I tip of the cap.
And listen, as two guys who got a degree in journalism, that's somebody who sat in my shoes.
Yes.
And is just luck of the draw, that's their job.
Right. They're the social media manager for the Colorado Rockies, and they've got to come up with fun ways to talk about how bad of a team they are, okay? So you know what? When you sweep the Miami Marlins, you didn't beat the Dodgers, you didn't beat the early 1900 Yankees teams, but you know what? You won a series, let's have some fun.
No, I think it's perfect, and I loved last night they tweeted in all caps, the Rockies won a series.
It's great.
Again, awesome.
If you're going to be in that job, you have to have fun, and you have to have fun during the good times, but you also have to find a way to have fun during the bad times.
Fox Sports wrote an article this morning that I think is interesting, and they ranked all 18 teams after missing the postseason. And 1 to 18
is
of
the
those
NFL?
Teams. What?
Is the NFL?
Sorry.
Can I take a guess?
Yeah. So it's not. I think 1 and 2 are probably easy. I don't know what order you'll get them in, but probably you would think that. I don't want to give you this hint, but I was going to say one of these teams the national media loves. I don't know if you and I think they're as good as some of the other.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then the other team, Cincinnati.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's not surprising. Those would have been my 2 guesses even before the
Yeah.
hint.
3 is Jacksonville. And I'm sure that's a little recency bias given.
No
coach. Travis Hunter made the splashes. Love their hire, by the way.
You're a big Liam Cohen fan.
Yeah, love it. And then he said Duval.
Trust me. Give me a second here. I think I have it somewhere on my.
You have that as a drop?
I had it at some point. I don't know where it went. At one point, I had Duval on my soundboard. I don't have it anymore.
4 is the Atlanta Falcons. Guess they.
Man, I need somebody to sit down across from me and explain to me why we love the Atlanta Falcons so much.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
I need somebody to explain it to me. They've
listen,
got pieces. I like Drake London. I love Bijan Robinson. The defense should be improved, but the Falcons' defense should have been improved each of the last 3 seasons, and it hasn't been. And I'm sorry. I did not like him coming out of college. I am not a Michael Penix Jr. fan.
See, I am a fan. I'm a fan. You know, we'll see. He played 2 games at the end of last year? 3 games?
I don't think he works well under pressure. I don't think the body of work injury wise is favorable to him.
No, certainly not. From an injury standpoint, how many times do you see a quarterback tear both ACLs? I mean, he was a runner in Indiana.
Right. And
he was a runner.
So now we just don't have that skill available to us.
Yeah.
And I think things have to be absolutely perfect and in structure and on time for him to be able to succeed. And I think when things get wonky, he struggles.
But to play devil's advocate
Sure.
on that, the flip side is, remember, we talk about that Cam Ward throw where he throws one across the middle against Arizona State.
Yep.
You're like, wow, that's an NFL quarterback. Penix littered with those at Washington. He made a throw against Texas in the Sugar Bowl that you're sitting there and like, I looked at my dad like, oh my God, that's an NFL throw.
It is. But again, it all happens because everything is perfect.
Yeah.
The protection is perfect. The play call is perfect. The route is perfect. Like, everything has to be perfect for him. That's the knock that I have. So I'm not in on Atlanta. Just like I'm not in on Seattle. You want to talk about 2 teams that can make me look really stupid during the season? Atlanta and Seattle. I'm out on both of those teams.
By the way, Sam Darnold is their quarterback in Seattle. They will not be hearing anything else.
Oh,
I'll let you know that.
are people doing the Jalen Milroe thing?
Yeah.
Interesting.
5 is the Cowboys, 6 is the Dolphins, and 7 is our Arizona Cardinals.
Okay. So far, I don't see any of the teams in front of them that I would want to completely leapfrog. Who's directly behind them?
Seattle.
I'm okay with
Chicago.
this. I'm okay with this.
Carolina.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I think, to be honest with you, I think I'm surprised for the same reason that everybody loves Atlanta. Why are they not in on Chicago?
I think there's a question about Ben Johnson as a head coach. Everybody thinks he's going to make Caleb better, but Caleb has some tendencies as a player.
Holds the ball too long.
Goes for hero ball way too much. Tries to get everything back in one play. And I don't know if Ben Johnson can coach those things out of him in general. I certainly don't expect him to be able to coach those things out of him in one season.
Yeah, I think it could take a few years, but
and if it can take a few years, you know how that media market goes. You know what's going to happen. The expectation there in that city is Ben Johnson is the savior. Ben Johnson's going to lead that team to 12 wins next season. They're going to be in the division race. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be able to make noise when they're in the playoffs because they have Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, and they don't want to hear anything else. So if they miss that mark, if they win 9 games this season, they miss the playoffs. Boy, is that going to be a culture shock to a lot of people.
Yeah. We saw this in the morning meeting, and you talked about Jonathan Stewart and Kenyon Barner being on the finalist for the College Football Hall of Fame, but one name we did not talk about was Mike Leach.
Oh.
And
needs to go in immediately.
Mike Leach was just talking about a guy who loved football
and revolutionized the game.
Yeah.
It is the innovative mind that transformed the offense of college football. So well deserving. And I think they changed the rules to be able to put him in. So
yeah, they did.
It tells you that he's more than likely going to be in relatively easy. That's going to do it for us here on this edition of the program. Jim Rome, he's coming up next. Producer Evan, thank you for all that you do. Everybody, have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya!
AM 1060 KDUS